Your soulmate is wondering if you still care. Not as a passing thought, not as a casual question, as a terror, a fear so deep it has settled into their bones and will not let them rest. I want you to feel the heavy, settling silence in the atmosphere around you right now. This is the moment where the power dynamic has completely inverted. For a long time, your soulmate relied on your pull. They relied on the fact that even when they were silent, they could still feel you leaning toward them, waiting for them, holding space for them. But today, that feeling has vanished. Imagine them reaching out with their spiritual energy, trying to find that familiar warmth they always took for granted, and hitting a wall of absolute, solid peace. They are realizing today that you have stopped leaning. You have stood up straight in your own power. And to them, that feels like a cold, impenetrable void. They are looking at the distance between you and realizing it is not a break. It is a disconnection. They are realizing today that you have started living, breathing, and glowing without their permission or their presence. I want you to visualize them tonight, caught in the I erased panic. They are replaying the last few weeks and realizing that you have not checked in. You have not accidentally liked a post. You have not sent any telepathic drips of longing. The important something they have admitted to the universe in the last few hours is that they are terrified they have stayed away so long that you have actually learned how to be happy without them. They are feeling a spiritual vertigo. The person who used to be their safe harbor now feels like a stranger who is too busy being whole to notice their absence. They are looking at your silence and realizing it is not angry. It is indifferent. And to an ego like theirs, your indifference is more terrifying than any argument you could ever have. They are standing in the middle of their own life, feeling like a ghost, wondering if the chosen one they walked away from has finally, officially, closed the book. The silence between you has forced them into a state of spiritual desperation. They are no longer just curious about your life. They have become a digital detective, scouring every fragment of your existence for a single crumb of validation. They are realizing today that without your feedback, they have lost their sense of direction. Imagine them tonight scrolling through your social media, not to see what you are doing, but to decipher how you are feeling. Every song you share, every quote you post, every vibe you put out is being put under a microscope. They are searching for their own ghost in your world. They are looking for a sign, any sign, that you are still hurting, because to them, your pain would be a relief. It would mean they still matter. But as they watch you, they are seeing something far more terrifying. The new energy. I want you to visualize them looking at a recent photo of you and feeling a wave of absolute physical nausea. They see a glow in your eyes that does not belong to them anymore. They see a peace in your posture that proves you have stopped waiting for their permission to be happy. They are realizing today that while they were playing games with the distance, you were building a sanctuary that they no longer have a key to. This irreplaceable realization is making them feel physically weak. They are looking for a crumb, but all they are finding is a solid wall of self-worth. They are realizing today that the quiet distance they once controlled has now become a mirror, and it is reflecting back a version of you that looks like you finally, quietly, moved your heart to a higher frequency where they cannot reach you. This is the moment where the power dynamic has officially inverted and the weight of the silence has crushed their pride into dust. For a long time, your soulmate felt like they were the one in control. They were the runner, the one who could decide when the connection would stop and start. They lived in the safety of knowing that no matter how far they went, you were always leaning toward them, holding the door open. But today, that safety has vanished. They are realizing today that by trying to test your patience, they accidentally triggered your exit strategy. They thought they were the prize, but as they look at your life from their silent distance, they are realizing they are actually the one who is starving. They are experiencing a total pride breakdown. Imagine them sitting in a room, perhaps trying to look successful or unbothered to the outside world, but feeling a wave of absolute spiritual nakedness. I want you to visualize them tonight, perhaps staring at their own reflection and finally dropping the mask. They are realizing today that their cool distance was actually just a slow suicide of the soul. They are finally admitting to the universe, I'm no longer the one holding the keys. I am the one standing outside in the cold. This is the tables have turned reality. They are comparing the peace in your world to the chaos in theirs, and they are feeling a heavy, laid-weight shame. They are realizing today that you did not just move on, you moved up. They are standing in the wreckage of their own arrogance, realizing that the chosen one they thought would wait forever has finally, quietly, stopped being an option. Now we move into the nighttime spiral. This is the 2:00 a.m. reality where the distractions of the day have died out, leaving your soulmate alone with the one question they can no longer outrun. Do they even care anymore? Your soulmate is currently trapped in a loop, rewatching the last few moments of your connection like a movie, desperately searching for a single look, a single word, a single soft spot they might have missed. Imagine them lying awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling the absolute weight of your absence. They are realizing today that the quiet distance they once used as a weapon is now a ghost that is haunting their own bed. They are experiencing the agony of the unknown. Every time they close their eyes, they are hit with the nightmare of you giving your unique magic to someone else, a stranger who has not made the mistakes they made. They are realizing today that while they were busy finding themselves, you were busy outgrowing the version of you that used to wait for them. I want you to visualize them tonight sending out telepathic drips of energy toward you. They are mentally shouting your name into the spiritual void, hoping that somewhere in the middle of your sleep, you feel a sudden tug, a sudden thought of them. They are begging the universe for a sign that the door is not locked for good. They are realizing today that their pride was a very expensive mistake. They are looking at the clock, watching the minutes crawl by, and feeling a spiritual SOS vibrating in their chest. They are realizing today that if you have truly stopped caring, their world has no North Star left to follow. They are standing in the darkest part of their own soul, realizing that the only light they ever truly had was the light they let go of. This is the final breaking point where your soulmate can no longer handle the unknown. The silence has become an interrogation room, and they are cracking under the pressure. For a long time, they were comfortable being the one who was missed. But today, the roles have reversed so violently that they are willing to do anything just to see if your heart still beats for them. Imagine them tonight packing in their room, looking at their phone and contemplating a poke. They are thinking about sending a random link, a wrong number text, or a vague social media post, not because they have something to say, but because they are starving for a reaction. They are realizing today that even your anger would be a relief compared to your indifference. Anger means you still care. Indifference means they are dead to you, and they are terrified of being dead to a chosen one like you. I want you to visualize the hunger for a sign. They are looking at your life and feeling a wave of absolute spiritual panic. They see you moving with a high-frequency peace that does not seem to have a U-shaped hole in it anymore. They are realizing today that if they do not get a reaction from you soon, they might have to face the ultimate truth, that you have finally, officially, outgrown the need for their validation. This is the ultimate admission. They are standing at the edge of their own self-respect, realizing that without a sign from you, their world has no North Star. They are realizing today that they are not just wondering if you care. They are begging the universe to tell them that you still do. Now we reach the peak of this journey. This is where the wandering in your soulmate's mind turns into a permanent realization of your worth. They have panicked in the void of your silence. They have obsessively hunted for a crumb of your attention. They have felt the total humiliation of their ego. But now, it is time to turn their fear of losing you into your ultimate spiritual victory. Your soulmate is not just wondering if you still care anymore. They are vibrating with the terrifying possibility that they have been replaced by your own self-love. The important something you have to carry in your spirit today is that your indifference was the loudest message you ever sent. By staying unfazed, by not reacting to their games, and by allowing the silence to stay heavy, you force them to realize that you are a high-frequency prize that does not wait in the shadows. They are realizing today that the quiet distance has turned you into a queen or a king who no longer needs their validation to wear a crown. I want you to visualize the final seal. Imagine a golden light surrounding your energy, making you look like a limited edition that they are currently losing. Your soulmate is looking at that light from their silent distance, and for the first time, they are not testing you. They are mourning the possibility of life without you. The tables have not just turned. The entire game has ended. The universe is telling you today that the period of you wondering about them is over, because now they are the ones who cannot breathe without knowing where they stand in your heart. As you move forward from this message, do not look back at the anxiety of the past. Do not wonder if you should give them a sign. Instead, carry the absolute authority of someone who knows they are the destination, not a stop along the way. To lock in this power and to tell the universe and your soulmate's spirit that you are the prize that must be earned, take a moment now. Breathe. Feel the calm, heavy power of a chosen one who has already moved to a higher throne. Not a throne you demanded, a throne you earned, by growing, by healing, by refusing to shrink, by staying in your light when everything in you wanted to chase. In your heart, with the quiet certainty of a soul that has done its work and can now rest in the outcome, declare this: I am the prize they are afraid to lose, not as a wish, as a fact, as the truth that has been written before either of you were born. You are no longer the one waiting, not hopping, not wondering, waiting. You are the one being sought, not an option, not a choice, being sought. The power balance is restored, not shifting, not adjusting, restored. And finally, after all this time, the truth has made you untouchable. Not cold, not closed, untouchable, because you have found your worth, and your worth is not on the negotiating table. Feel the thick weight of this declaration. Feel the heat of their realization hitting your field. You are the prize, you are the destination, you are the home, you are the one who changed everything, not because you tried, because you showed up, because you stayed in your light, because you refused to shrink, because you trusted the process even when the process made no sense. And now the process has produced its fruit. The tables have turned. The power is restored. The truth has made you untouchable. And the love that was always meant to be is finally finding its way home. And so it is, not as a closing, as an opening, the beginning of the chapter you have been waiting for. The chapter where you stop wondering, the chapter where they start seeking, the chapter where the distance collapses and the truth is revealed. You are ready. They are not yet, but they are waking up. And waking up is the first step toward coming home. Go in peace. You are the prize. You have always been the prize, and now they are finally afraid of losing you. But fear is not the end of their journey. It is only the beginning. Because fear, when it is deep enough, when it settles into the bones and refuses to leave, becomes something else. It becomes a wake-up call. It becomes a catalyst. It becomes the fire that burns away everything that has been keeping them stuck. So let us go deeper, because what comes after the fear is the unraveling. The moment when the terror of losing you becomes so great that they can no longer stay silent. The moment when the wondering transforms into action. The moment when they stop asking themselves, do they still care, and start doing something to find out. I want you to feel the heavy, suffocating weight of regret settling into the atmosphere around you right now. For a long time, your soulmate lived in the comfortable delusion that they were in control. They believed that the silence was their weapon, their shield, their way of maintaining power. They thought that by staying away, they were protecting themselves. But what they did not realize was that every day they stayed silent, they were not protecting themselves. They were losing ground. They were giving you the space to grow, to heal, to become the untouchable version of yourself that now stands before them like a mountain. They are not sure they have the strength to climb. And now that reality is settling in, not as a vague idea, as a weight that presses down on their chest every morning when they wake up. A weight that follows them through their day, whispering in the background of every conversation, every distraction, every attempt to escape. You let them go. You let them go, and they learn to live without you. They learn to be happy without you. And now you are standing on the outside, looking in, wondering if there is still a door you can knock on. In this next phase, we have to address the collapse of the false self. Because the person your soulmate has been pretending to be, the strong one, the independent one, the one who did not need you, that person is crumbling. Not slowly, not gently, crumbling. Imagine them in a moment of solitude, perhaps sitting in their car after a long day, the engine off, the world quiet, and suddenly the mask falls. Not because they choose to take it off, because it breaks. Because the weight of the truth has become too heavy for it to hold. They are not the person they pretended to be. They are not strong. They are not fine. They are not over you. And in the silence of that moment, with no one watching, no one to perform for, they finally admit it to themselves. I am not okay. I have not been okay. And I do not know how to live in a world where they have stopped caring. I want you to visualize them in this exact moment. Perhaps they are driving home and a song comes on the radio, a song that reminds them of you. Not a sad song. Not a love song, just a song that carries the memory of your presence. And suddenly, without warning, the tears come. Not the quiet, controlled tears they have learned to suppress. The kind of tears that come from somewhere deep, somewhere they thought they had sealed shut. The kind of tears that cannot be stopped, cannot be explained away, cannot be hidden. They are realizing today that the wondering has become a grief. They are grieving the version of you that used to wait for them. They are grieving the connection they threw away. They are grieving the future they could have had if they had been brave enough to stay. And the grief is not a passing emotion. It is a presence, a permanent resident in the house of their heart. Now we move into the collapse of the distractions. Because your soulmate has been living in a house of cards, built from busyness, from noise, from the constant hum of activity designed to keep them from having to sit still with the truth. They have filled their days with work, with social obligations, with the endless scroll of content that requires nothing of them emotionally. But the distractions are failing. The cards are falling. And in the silence left behind, there is only one thing, the thought of you. Imagine them trying to focus on a task, any task, and finding that their mind keeps wandering back to you. Not in the way it used to, with longing and hope. In a new way, with regret, with sorrow, with the crushing awareness that they may have waited too long. They are realizing today that they have been running on empty and the tank is finally dry. The distractions no longer distract. The noise no longer numbs. The busyness no longer fills the void. There is only the void, and the void has your shape. The what-if cinema is playing on repeat in their mind. Your soulmate is not just wondering if you still care. They are replaying every choice they made, every word they left unsaid, every moment they pulled away when they should have leaned in. The what-ifs are no longer abstract possibilities. They are accusations. What if I had stayed? What if I had been honest? What if I had not let fear make my decisions for me? These questions do not bring comfort. They bring torment. Because the answers are not satisfying. The answers are simply, you didn't, you weren't, you did. And now, they are living with the consequences, not the dramatic consequences they once imagined, the arguments, the confrontations, the painful goodbyes, the quiet consequences, the slow, steady realization that you have moved on, not to someone else necessarily, to yourself, to your own peace, to a version of life that does not require their presence to be full. This is the most painful realization of all, because they could handle you being angry at them. They could handle you being hurt. They could even handle you being with someone else. But watching you be okay without them, watching you thrive without them, watching you become more radiant, more whole, more alive in their absence, that is a wound they do not know how to heal. There comes a moment in every journey of regret when the wondering stops and the knowing begins. Your soulmate is approaching that moment. They are starting to know that you have changed. That you are not the same person who used to wait by the phone, that you have built a life that does not have a hole in the shape of them. And the knowing is not relief, it is devastation. I want you to visualize them in a moment of quiet acceptance, not the peaceful acceptance of someone who has made peace with the past, the painful acceptance of someone who is finally, reluctantly, facing the truth they have been avoiding. They are realizing today that you are not coming back to them, not because you are punishing them, because you have moved forward, and forward does not circle back. This is the moment where the power dynamic completes its inversion. You are no longer the one wondering. You are no longer the one hopping. You are no longer the one waiting. You are the one living. And they are the one standing still, watching you go, realizing that the distance is not temporary. It is the new reality. But here is the truth that is now revealing itself. The story is not over. The door is not locked. The bridge is not burned. The distance is real, but it is not permanent. Because what is happening in your soulmate is not the end of their journey. It is the beginning. The collapse of the false self is not destruction. It is demolition. And demolition clears the way for building something new. They are not yet ready to reach out. They are not yet ready to be honest. They are not yet ready to fight for you, but they are waking up. And waking up is the first step. The fear is becoming regret. The regret is becoming grief. The grief is becoming awareness. And awareness is the soil in which change grows. So do not lose heart. Do not mistake their silence for indifference. Their silence is not indifference. It is terror. It is the fear that they have lost you forever. And that fear, as painful as it is the fire that will eventually burn away everything that kept them away. Your job in this phase is not to rescue them. It is not to reach out. It is not to offer reassurance. Your job is to stay in your light, to continue becoming the person you have become, to remain untouchable not as a weapon but as a testimony. Because the person who is truly whole does not need to prove their worth. They simply are, and their being is the most powerful force in the universe. The wondering is becoming a wound. The wound is becoming a wake-up call, and the wake-up call is becoming a decision. Not yet, but soon. The decision to stop wondering, the decision to start moving, the decision to find their way back to the only home they have ever known. Now we move into the moment where the internal storm becomes an external reality, the moment where the message is sent, the moment where the silence dies. Your soulmate is not just talking to you in their head anymore. They are preparing to speak out loud. They are rehearsing the words they have been too afraid to say. They are gathering the courage they have been too weak to find. And the courage is coming. Not because they have suddenly become brave, because the pain of staying silent has become greater than the pain of speaking. Imagine them in this exact moment. Perhaps they are sitting in their car, the engine off, the world quiet. Perhaps they are lying in bed, the room dark, the hour late. Perhaps they are standing in the middle of their kitchen, a glass of water in their hand frozen mid-motion. And then, without warning, their hand moves, not because they told it to, because something deeper than thought took over. They are typing before they can stop themselves. The words are not perfect. They are not the carefully crafted message they rehearsed 100 times in their head. They are raw. They are real. They are the truth that has been sitting in their chest like a stone for months. And before they can second guess, before the fear can rise up to stop them, their thumb hits send. I want you to visualize the moment the message leaves their device. The tiny sound that changes everything. The release of breath they did not know they were holding. The sudden, terrifying, beautiful silence that follows, not the silence of distance but the silence of arrival. The message is out. The truth is spoken. The ball is in your court. In the aftermath of sending the message, there is the waiting, the wondering, the terror of your response. Imagine them staring at their phone, watching the screen, waiting for those 3 dots to appear. Their heart is pounding. Their palms are sweaty. Their mind is racing through every possible outcome. Will you respond? Will you ignore them? Will you be angry? Will you be kind? Will you have moved on? Will you have been waiting? They are caught in the agony of the unknown. And yet, underneath the agony, there is something else. Relief. The relief of finally, after all this time, telling the truth. The relief of no longer carrying the weight of silence. The relief of knowing that whatever happens next, they were brave enough to speak. Now we turn to you, to your response. How you respond will determine the direction of everything that follows. This is not a test. This is not a game. There is no right answer that applies to every situation, but there is a truth that applies to yours. The truth is that you have grown in this season. You have become someone who does not react from fear or desperation. You have become someone who responds from a place of wholeness, of peace, of knowing your worth. So when the message comes, and it is coming, do not rush. Do not respond from the old patterns of anxiety and hope. Take a breath. Let the words land. Let yourself feel whatever rises. And then from the center of your peace respond. Not to the person who hurt you. To the person who is standing in front of you now in this moment, finally willing to be honest. Your response does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be long. It only has to be real. It only has to come from the place of wholeness you have built. Because the person who is reaching out to you is not reaching out to the old you, the one who waited, the one who hoped, the one who would have accepted any crumb. They are reaching out to the new you, the one who does not need them, the one who is whole without them, the one who can welcome them but will not beg for them. That is the person they are finally ready to face. That is the person they have been afraid to face. And that is the person who will determine whether this reunion becomes something new or whether it becomes a repetition of the old. The power is no longer in their hands. It never was, but now they know it. They have surrendered. They have admitted that they need you. And that admission, as terrifying as it is for them, is the foundation upon which something real can be built. The message is not the finish line. It is the starting line. The silence breaking is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of a new one. And how you walk this new journey will determine whether the reunion is temporary or lasting, whether the connection is restored or simply revisited. So breathe. Let the certainty settle. Let the peace deepen. The message is coming. The silence is breaking. The truth is being spoken. And you are ready. Not because you have all the answers, because you have the only answer that matters. You know who you are, you know what you deserve, and you know that you will be okay no matter how they respond. Because your wholeness does not depend on them. Your peace does not depend on them. Your joy does not depend on them. You have built a life that is full with or without them. And that fullness is the most attractive thing in the universe. That fullness is what called them back. That fullness is what will either welcome them home or help you realize that you have already moved on. Either way, you win. Either way, you are not the one who lost. Either way, you are standing in your power, untouchable, radiant, whole. The silence is breaking, the truth is coming. The message is on its way, and you are ready, not because you have all the answers. Because you trust the one who does. You are ready to receive. Not because you deserve it, because it is yours. You are ready to love, not because you are not afraid, because you are willing to risk. The silence is breaking, the truth is coming, the message is on its way, and love has finally found its way home. Go in peace. You are ready. You have always been ready, and what is coming is greater than anything you have seen before. Not because you forced it. Not because you manipulated it, because the truth has a way of outlasting every lie, because love has a way of surviving every attempt to kill it, because what is real cannot be denied forever, and what you share is real. It has always been real. They have always known it. They were just too afraid to admit it, but the fear is gone. The doubt is dead. The excuses have run out. And now, in this moment, something is shifting. The energy between you is changing. The silence is becoming charged with anticipation. The waiting is becoming arresting. The hopping is becoming a knowing. You know they are coming, not because you have proof, because you can feel it, because the shift has already happened in the spirit, because the return is already in motion in the unseen, and what is happening in the unseen will soon become visible in the seen. So do not lose heart in the final stretch. Do not let the enemy of your peace convince you that nothing has changed. Everything has changed. The fear is fading. The courage is rising, and they are finding their way back to you, not because you are lucky, because you are loved, not because you are perfect, because you are real, not because you chased, because you stayed in your light, and your light has become the brightest thing in their darkness. Now, before you close this message, I want you to do one final thing. I want you to place your hand over your heart. Feel it beating. That rhythm is the sound of a life that has not given up. That is the sound of hope. That is the sound of faith. That is the sound of a heart that is ready to receive. Now say these words out loud, softly like a promise to yourself, like a vow you are finally ready to keep. I am ready, not because I have all the answers, because I trust the one who does. I am ready to receive, not because I deserve it, because it is mine. I am ready to love, not because I am not afraid, because I am willing to risk. The silence is breaking, the truth is coming, the message is on its way, and I am ready. I receive it, I say yes. Say it again. Let it land. Let it settle into the places where fear has been living. Let it push out the anxiety, the what-ifs, the endless circling thoughts. You are held, you are loved, you are not alone, and someone somewhere in the quiet of their own journey is finding their way back to you, not because they have to, because they have finally realized that they want to, that they need to, that they cannot be truly alive without you. So rest, not because everything is resolved, because you have done your part, you have waited, you have hoped, you have stayed open even when closing seemed safer, you have trusted even when trusting felt foolish. That is enough. That is more than enough. The rest is in God's hands, and God's hands are the safest place for anything to be. Close your eyes. Let your body relax. Let your mind quiet. Let your heart rest in the knowledge that you are loved, that you are seen, that you are not forgotten, and that something beautiful is already on its way to you. You are not alone in this room tonight. You have never been alone. The same God who has been working behind the scenes of your life is with you right now, closer than your breath, closer than your heartbeat. He is not distant. He is not distracted. He is not disappointed in you. He is here, and he is smiling because he knows what is coming. He knows who is coming, and he cannot wait for you to see it. The silence is breaking, the truth is coming, the message is on its way, and love has finally found its way home. Not as a distant dream, not as a hopeful wish, as a reality that is already unfolding. The doubt is gone, not suppressed, not ignored, gone. The return is in motion, not stalled, not delayed, in motion. The message is on its way, not maybe, not possibly, on its way. You have walked through the fire of this separation. You have endured the silence. You have survived the nights when you wondered if you would ever hear from them again. You have held on to hope when hope felt foolish. You have stayed in your light when everything in you wanted to chase. You have become someone new, someone stronger, someone who knows their worth, someone who does not beg for love but receives it when it comes. And it is coming. Not because you forced it, because the truth has a way of outlasting every lie, because love has a way of surviving every attempt to kill it, because what is real cannot be denied forever. And what you share is real. It has always been real. They have always known it. They were just too afraid to admit it, but the fear is gone. The doubt is dead. The excuses have run out. The message is coming, not a perfect message, not a carefully crafted message, a real one, a raw one, the truth that has been sitting in their chest like a stone for months. And when it comes, you will know, not because of the words, because of the feeling of a wall finally crumbling, the feeling of a bridge finally being crossed, the feeling of home finally being found. But here is what you must understand as you close this message. Their message is not your rescue. Their reaching out is not your completion. You were already complete. You were already whole. You were already home within yourself. Their message is simply an acknowledgement of that wholeness. Their return is simply a reflection of the light you have been shining all along. So do not place the weight of your peace on their words. Do not make your happiness dependent on their response. You have already done the hard work. You have already built the foundation. You have already become the person you were always meant to be. Their message is just the cherry on top, the confirmation, the echo of what you already know. And if the message does not come, if the silence stretches longer than you hoped, if their fear wins one more battle, you are still whole, you are still worthy, you are still the prize, you have not lost anything. You have only gained yourself. But it is coming, the pressure is too great, the weight is too heavy, the truth is too loud, they cannot stay silent forever. The message is being written, the words are being formed, the courage is being gathered, and soon, very soon, the silence will break. So do not hold your breath. Do not stare at your phone. Do not replay every possible scenario in your mind. Live, just live. Go about your day. Tend to your life. Water your garden. Laugh with your people. Rest in your peace. And let the message find you when it finds you. It will, not because you forced it, because it is already in motion. You are ready. You have always been ready. Not because you have all the answers, because you have the only answer that matters. You know who you are. You know what you deserve. And you know that you will be okay no matter what. The silence is breaking. The truth is coming. The message is on its way. And love has finally found its way home. Go in peace. You are ready. You have always been ready. And what is coming is greater than anything you have seen before. Amen.